Hello and welcome to Home with Sarah Jane. In today's video, I wanted to share the geography program that I picked out for my soon-to-be 9th grader, Bella. So if you're new here, hello and welcome. My name is Sarah and I'm a homeschooling mom to 2 girls, ages 11 and 14. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for stopping by once again. I do really appreciate you. So this video is going to be a flip through on Geography 3, Exploring and Mapping the World from Memoria Press. Now, I did choose Geography 3 because this is the one that specifically goes over mapping the entire world. Geography 1 and Geography 2 focus on different areas, not the entire world, and I wanted something that was going to be the entire world. So there's that. Another thing I wanted to mention is that this course is only going to be a semester course for Bella. She's going to be doing this in first semester and she will be receiving half a credit, half of an elective credit for completing this course. Now, geography is no longer required in our state, and that is why this is going to be half of an elective credit for her. So before I get too chatty, let's just jump on into flipping through what this course looks like. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you all of the items that came with this package that I purchased. This is the Geography 3 Exploring and Mapping the World package that I purchased on Rainbow Resource. Now, you get the student textbook. I will go I will do a flip through on this in just a moment. I just want to show you everything that comes in the package. So there's the student text, the student workbook, the classroom atlas, the teacher's guide, and then there is this huge stack of geography flashcards. Again, it has like flags, different countries. So all of these like flashcards, I mean, huge stack. I mean huge stack when I say huge stack. It is a very large stack of flashcards, but I do love that they added these in. These are going to be great for studying. Now, there is one thing that I wanted to mention, and that is that the lesson plans for this course are not included in the teacher's guide. That kind of bummed me out. I did not understand why they didn't include that in the teacher's guide, but they offered it separate, and you had to purchase it. So that's what I did. I did purchase the lesson plans for this course separately, and honestly, you really don't need them. You can get them if you want to make your life a little easier like I did, but I ended up changing the lesson plans anyway, because in here, they have the student doing this course 2 days a week for 34 weeks. Well, I didn't want my student to do this course for 34 weeks. I wanted my student to only do it for 18 because I wanted her to complete this course in 1 semester. So what I ended up doing is I took the information from their lesson plans and I created my own. Now, this lesson plan that I created, I actually made on Homeschool Planet. It's something new for us. This is the first time I've used Homeschool Planet. I'm trying to get a feel for it. So far, I'm liking it. I will put a link in the description box if you're interested in looking at this homeschool planner. It's like an online homeschool planner. So yeah, what I did was I just took their lesson, breakdown, and I just put it through Homeschool Planet and mapped it out for 4 days a week for 18 weeks instead of 2 days a week for 34 weeks. So that's what I did here, and I just pretty much gave a breakdown of what she should be doing and reading and working on each day for geography. But again, you don't even have to do that. You could just focus on 1 unit every 2 weeks, and that'll make it a 1 semester course as well, because there's only 9 units in this course. But let's take a look at the inside of some of these books. Now, I guess we will start with the student guide. So this is the student text, and in here is where you're going to be getting, or your student is going to be getting, most of the information for this course. So again, there are 9 units in this course, and then a glossary, which I do like the glossary in the back of this book. So unit 1 is the introduction. Unit 2 is Western Europe. Unit 3 is Eastern Europe. Unit 4 is North America. Unit 5 is Central and South America. Unit 6 is Sub-Saharan Africa. Unit 7 is North Africa, the Middle East, and Central Asia. Unit 8 is South and East Asia. And Unit 9 is Southeast Asian Islands, Oceania, and Antarctica. So again, I do really like what they're covering in the student text. So here's Unit 1. This is the introduction. And what they're doing in Unit 1 in the introduction is just getting them familiar with different terms that are used throughout this geography course, the different types of geography that they're going to be studying, and just the basics of understanding, what everything is. So I do like that this is going to be going over cultural, economic, political, and historical geography. I was actually really surprised because this text doesn't look very long and they were able to fit in so much. So I do really enjoy that. Now, one thing I do want to say that I think I've mentioned in my curriculum picks video, I don't enjoy that the pictures throughout this entire textbook is black and white. I don't like that. But they do add in, like I was saying earlier, they do add in a classroom atlas that is very colorful. So I do feel like that kind of makes up for the black and white throughout this book. But again, that was something that kind of bummed me out, is that all of the pictures in the student text are black and white. Now, when you move on to the next unit, before I move on to the next unit, I do like that with each unit you're studying, different map work and things like that to go along with that region that you're studying. So for the first unit, they go over the very basics. So your student's going to be reviewing the 7 continents, the 6 primary lines, and the 5 oceans. And in each unit, you'll see going forward, they have this blue box that gives all of that information that they'll be using with their map as well. So I really do like that. This is just some history and things. So I do like that they add in some history into this course as well. So now Unit 2, your student will be working on Western Europe. And each of these units going forward are set up the same. So your student will be reading about the physical geography. There's the map that they'll be studying. It goes into human geography, where they also talk about, religion and things like that. And then down here, this is that key that I was talking about. So in these blue boxes, this one, again, it's for Western Europe, but it breaks down Western Europe. So it has like the Mediterranean. So all the countries throughout the Mediterranean and their capitals, all the countries throughout the British Isles and their capitals, and so forth. So I do really, really like that it's all in one section here, because it makes it easier for your student to, get that information. They're not searching all over the page for it. This is a very basic setup, and that's what I love about it. It's not too busy. So once they read through the countries and capitals, then they're going to go into more information about some of those countries and capitals. So like you can see here, this is the Mediterranean countries. And now they're going to get more information about the Mediterranean countries, more information about the British Isles, and so forth. And again, they are tying in, certain landmarks from time to time, bits of history throughout this. Here's some Nordic countries. I just think that it's laid out really, really well, I feel. And this part I did really enjoy. It actually pointed out a lot of the really popular or influential composers and how they came from certain parts of Western Europe. So, like Germany and Austria. So I did really like that they were tying in a lot of different types of history as well. Now, again, all of these units now are going to be the same as what I just showed you, only a different region or different area of the world. Unit 3 is Eastern Europe. Again, you have the physical geography, the map that your student will be studying, the human geography. Here's the countries and capitals. And then you have a little bit of history, and then it breaks off into information on some of the countries. Now, I do want to mention, though, as well, that while your students are reading this, they are instructed to read from certain parts of the classroom atlas at the same time. So they're not just reading the student text and answering questions. They're reading the student text plus information from the classroom atlas and then answering questions. So I did want to, kind of point that out, that they are reading from 2 different books at the same time. It's not hectic or anything, or at least it doesn't feel that way, because it's just bite-sized pieces that go along with what they were learning throughout this book. So here's Unit 4. It's North America. Again, physical geography, map, human geography, some history, religion, the countries and capitals, and a breakdown of those countries. And then when you get to the end, you have your glossary. I thought that this was a nice little add-in because, you know, it does explain certain terms and things like that to your student if they do need additional help. So I do like that they have this in here as well. So now let's look over the classroom atlas, because this is, again, what your student is going to be working through at the same time that they're working through this student text. So there are sections of this book that are assigned as reading. In the back, there is an index, as you can see. So just some more information for your student. Okay, so with your student text and your classroom atlas, your student is also going to be working out of their student workbook. Now, these student workbooks I think are really nice because they're like straight to the point. So in here, your student will have the 9 units here that they're going to be going over. There's the appendix in the back, which has the Robinson Map Project. The Robinson Map Project is something that they're going to be working on throughout this entire course. So I do like that they have it in the back of this book. They have some ideas for some honors work to turn this course into an honors study. And then they have a world religions chart in the back as well, which I actually really like that as well. So here are the questions for Unit 1. Again, I chose to break these questions up so my students not doing them all in one day, because if you look, there are 16 questions here, and then there's some map work. So however you want to break this up, that's totally up to you. I broke this up in like bite-sized pieces for my daughter over, you know, the course of a semester. So here's the questions, and here's the map that she is going to be, you know, labeling and filling out to go with Unit 1. And then there is a United States review where they have to go ahead and label, you know, different parts of the United States. And they have that, I think, twice. Was it twice or is it broken up? Oh, it was broken up. So they do half of them here and then half of them here. And then it goes into Unit 2. And then here's all of the Western Europe questions. And again, all of these are set up the same. They have the map, they have their questions, they're going to be labeling. I just think that it's a very thorough course. I'm actually really looking forward to my daughter completing this course because this is something that her and I are kind of going to be working on a little bit together, especially like using the flashcards and stuff. So this is stuff that I'm like interested in as well. So I think I'm going to have a lot of fun with this course as well. And again, I like the basic setup of their pages. It's simple, it's like straight to the point, but it's thorough. Now let's go to the back. Here's the appendix. So in here again, they talk about the Robinson Map Project. So your student has an actual copy of the instructions and how they're supposed to be completing this project. Now again, if you feel that this course is a bit too beefy and you need to cut things back, you definitely don't have to do this. That's what I love about homeschooling, is that you can pick and choose and really alter these things for your student. But we're going to try this course full on, and if it seems to be too much for her, this is probably something that we'll be cutting out. But again, I don't want to cut anything out until we really give it a chance, because this does look really neat. So in this Robinson Map Project, your student is going to be learning how to freehand draw basically the world. So the different areas of the world, so the continents and oceans and things like that. So I do think that this is really neat, but again, this is one of those things that you can do or you don't have to do, and it'll be just fine. We're gonna see how it goes. But yeah, so that's the Robinson Map Project, is that, you know, throughout each unit, they'll be learning how to freehand draw a different area, the area that they're studying that in that unit. So back here, they have the reproducible page that you can use. You can make copies of this so your student could, you know, practice over and over again, things like that. This part I did actually really enjoy. This is the honors work section. If you want to turn this course into an honors course, this gives you ideas per unit and things like that, that you can make this an honors course. I really enjoy that they added these in. Now, my daughter and I, we're not going to be doing all of these to make this an honors course. We are going to be just choosing our favorites and working on those. And we already kind of made up our mind on what we want to do. So in here in this honors work, they talk about, you know, current event reports that you read and then you summarize. You could do a country presentation. They talk about how in unit 1, you could practice, you know, certain certain distances, you know, calculate the approximate distances between major cities and then look up and see if you're right. So there are ways to kind of expand these lessons and turn it into an honors course, and they give you ideas for each unit. And again, I do really enjoy that because it's less that I have to figure out. So the ones that my daughter and I are going to focus on are in unit 7 and unit 8, and that is going to be her focusing on the major world religions chart. I think that's a really important thing to study and have knowledge on about different world religions. So that's what we're going to focus on from this section, the honor section. And in the appendix, this is the major world religions chart. So I do like that this came with it. So when you're, you know, doing those studies about the different major religions throughout the world, this is already kind of set up for you. And it talks about, you know, the founder or the important leaders or the prophets for that religion, the important dates for the religion, you know, the sacred texts, places of worship, the leader, and the beliefs. I think that this is really fantastic. And you don't have to, and she's not going to be writing like full-on paragraphs or essays or anything. It's basic information that she's going to be learning about different religions throughout the world using her student text, and also will probably look some stuff up online and things like that to just kind of, you know, further explore these major world religions. And I think that that is really, really neat to have as an add-in. And there's, you know, also a few more religions on the back here. So that is the student workbook. So these are going to be the items that your student is primarily working with, along with these flashcards. And again, there are a bunch of these flashcards. And what I liked about them, at first when I purchased these, I was like, why are the flashcards black and white? But then I realized, oh, your student can actually color in the flag for that country. And it's just another little hands-on way to study and to remember the different flags for the different countries and things like that. Okay, so this isn't all of the flashcards. This is just some of them. I just kind of wanted to show you that there are different sections throughout the flashcards that actually make it really easy for your student to study the different areas and different units and things like that, because they're broken up to kind of go with each unit. So again, you have like North America, South America, Asia, Australia, and Oceania. So if you look here on the South America card, it will show you, you know, the location of South America, and then it goes into the different countries throughout South America as well, and it shows you where it's located. So I do really like that, and then there's the flag that your student can color. So I do really like that about these flashcards, is that they are broken up to kind of really fit well with the units that your students will be going through. So I really do like that. And again, this isn't all of them. This was just some of them. So again, you have like, you know, Asia, and it shows you Asia, and then you have your countries throughout Asia. So I just thought that these flashcards were a really great add-in, a great way to study. Okay, so now let's take a look at the teacher's guide. So in this teacher's guide, again, there are no lesson plans in here. It's pretty much an answer key and reproducible pages in here. So throughout this book, it is set up very much like the student's workbook. So you have, you know, the different units that they're going to be working on. You have the appendix, which is very similar to what your student has. So it's the Robinson Math Project, or math, I meant MAP project, honors work, and world religions chart. And then you also have a section for reproducible maps, tests, and test keys. So in here, what I like about this teacher's guide is that, again, it is set up just like your student workbook. So it has the questions and the answers here, and it makes it really easy for grading, and it's really convenient. And then it has all of the answers to the map work that they'll be working on per unit as well. And so that is pretty much set up the same throughout all of the different units. So I'm just going to kind of go through this one kind of quickly. And then when you get to the back, if I can get to the back, there we go. You have the appendix. So in the appendix, you have that same bit of information that your child had or your student had in their student workbook. It tells them how to do the Robinson Map Project. So all that information is here for you as well. You have the key, so what it should look like when your student is done with it. And then it also has this page that you can make copies of. This is the reproducible Robinson Map Project page. So you could take this out and make copies of this if needed. I like that. I do want to mention, if I have to say something I don't like about this other than the lesson plans not being in here, is that the reproducible pages are not like easy tear. So I do wish that they were easy tear. That's a small complaint. Totally can live without easy tear, but I did just want to mention that in case it's something that, you know, you'd like to know. Now in here you have that same bit of information about how to turn this course into an honors course. So here's the honor work suggestions here, and again, it's the same as what's in the student text, or excuse me, the student workbook. Now here is your major world religions chart. This is the answer key to that chart. So you can see all of these sections are now filled in with very basic information about what your student should be filling out on this chart if you choose to do it. Again, this is something that I am going to be doing with my daughter Bella. This might even be something that we do together because I just find it really interesting, and I think she will too, something that we can talk about. So I think that this was a really cool add-in. And then you have your reproducible maps. I do really like this section because sometimes it can be really challenging trying to find the map that you need for your student to work on. So the fact that they added all of the maps in the back that you can just make copies of, I think is just fantastic. It makes it really convenient, really easy. So these are all of the maps that your student is going to be working throughout this course, all in one easy spot. So I do really enjoy this. And as you can see, I mean, it's a lot of maps. So there is that. And then you have your tests. So this is what you're going to be giving to your student every time they finish up a unit. They'll be taking their test. And I do like that there's kind of style of test here. So when you give this test to your student, I like that when it comes to the map work, they have a word bank, because that could be really challenging to try to remember the spelling of all of the different, you know, countries or continents or oceans or whatever. You know, it's just a lot to remember. So I do enjoy that they provide a word bank. So they'll be using this word bank to label the map. And then they have part 2, which is fill in the blanks. Very basic questions that your student would have already answered using the student workbook and reading through their text. So there's no surprises here, because sometimes I don't like when courses do that, to where they will have questions in their tests that kind of don't exactly match what they were learning in the section, and that just can make things frustrating. There's no surprises. So this is stuff that they've already talked about, studied, or answered in their workbook. So the fill in the blank, and then there's short answer questions as well. So I like that as well. And then this is test 2. So again, you have your word bank, your map. You have your part 2 on here is naming the capital of each country. So they give you the country and then you fill that in. And then you have your part 3, fill in the blank, and part 4, your short answer. So all of these are pretty much set up the same after, you know, or not after, I meant going forward. So all of these are pretty much set up the same going forward. So you have your word bank, your map, your questions, your word bank, your map, your questions. So all of these are pretty much the same after that. I'm sorry if you could hear my dog. He's mad right now. He wants to go outside and I'm not letting him out yet. So after you go through all of your tests, I do want to mention that there is a final exam. So in the final exam, I know this already looks intimidating, but if your student was grasping the concepts that they were learning throughout the different units, then this shouldn't be too hard. So in the final exam here, it talks about using the numbered maps on the following pages in your workbook to fill in the country names. And then, so you can see here, it has different numbers and things like that for the different countries. Some more map work to fill in as well. And then there's the part 2, fill in the blank. Part 3, which is short answers. And then you have your test keys. So again, this is just set up exactly like the actual test. It looks the same, it just has the answers, and I really do enjoy that about their answer key. I like that it's not just like a list of answers, that it kind of gives it to you on the worksheet. So I do like that. And then in the very back, it has your final exam answer key as well. So that is the teacher's guide. Okay, so that is everything that we're going to be using for her 9th grade 1 semester geography course. This will be a half a credit, a half of an elective credit for her. I do really like that we decided to go ahead and go with geography, because again, this is not something that's required in our state anymore, but I do think that it is a very important thing to know. This does look like a very thorough course, but I do want to mention that I might be adding in a few readers. I haven't decided about the readers for sure, but if I do add in readers, it would be something short, straight to the point, that kind of go along with the different areas that she's learning about. Now, if I don't add in the readers, I know I will definitely be adding in some documentaries. I'll be looking up some documentaries to just kind of give her a further understanding and idea about different cultures and people from all over the world. So you don't have to add those in. My daughter happens to really enjoy documentaries, and so do I. So that's why I kind of like to add them in where I can. And I think that geography, cultures, religion is a really wonderful way, or a really wonderful subject to do that with, to add those documentaries in. So that is everything that we're using for her 9th grade geography course. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comment section. Thank you so much for stopping by. You have a great day. Bye.